Guys, welcome back to Project Geekology for episode 89. My name is Dakota, and I'm joined as always with...
Anthony, or Anthony Poole.
Anton Poole. We're giving this episode maximum effort because we're covering Deadpool 2 in our coverage, our long-winded coverage of the Fox X-Men movie franchise. How many have we, done at this point, Anthony?
We've done a lot, and I know that some of our fans are probably waiting for us to
to diversify
move
a little
on
bit.
to right. But bear with us for a little bit. We have not become a Deadpool an X-Men only podcast. Really, right now is that we're doing the coverage of the Fox X-Men movies, which honestly is really a timely. It's really timely for that because, we just got Deadpool and Wolverine out. Dakota and I have both seen that. Eventually, we're making our way up to actually cover that. We want to give you a little bit of time to actually go and see this movie. So we figured out Deadpool 2, and I think we have Dark Phoenix and then New Mutants before we actually have Deadpool and Wolverine to cover. But we're thinking that, we're gonna give you a little bit of a break, and we'll probably throw Acolyte in there before we actually cover Deadpool and Wolverine, and then after that we'll do Deadpool and Wolverine, full spoilers. So
You got enough
we'll
time.
let you know.
Yeah, you got enough time.
Right. Enough time. We'll let you know spoilers in that episode, but just to let you know, if you're listening to this one, that one will be spoilers.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the podcast that we have released. We did the original X-Men trilogy. We did the Wolverine trilogy, which includes X-Men Origins Wolverine, The Wolverine, and Logan. And we did the first three of the, the First Class stuff. So First Class, Days of Future Past, and Apocalypse.
All of the secondary or second coming of X-Men.
We did Deadpool. So this will be the 11th episode in our coverage of the Fox X-Men things. And it's going to be difficult not to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine, even though this is a Deadpool 2 podcast. It just came out. Anthony, I'm assuming you watched it as well?
Yes. Maybe. I don't know. Did I see it? Yeah. No, of course I did.
Yeah.
Dude, I saw it. You saw it on Thursday. I saw it on Friday.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we're recording now the following Monday, and it blew the estimates of what it was supposed to bring in at the box office out of the water. So I think it's at the opening weekend was a 208 million gross, which is crazy. It's insane. But
they should have projected more. I mean, honestly, let's be honest. This is Deadpool and Wolverine. We all know that everybody loves Deadpool, but we all love Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and the fact that they're going to be in a movie together, come on, man. That movie was it was their second chance because they have been in a movie together, but it wasn't so. I mean, we covered it.
We did cover it.
X-Men Origins, Wolverine. So, if you're interested in hearing about that a little bit, we have that episode out.
Yeah. Before we get into the actual meat of the discussion of Deadpool 2, I want to talk a little bit about what we've been up to, because it's been quite a few weeks since we were on the podcast recording together, even though there's been some minisodes that we've sprinkled in the interim weeks. But so I went to your neck of the woods for 2 weeks. I spent a week in Miami and then a week in Orlando.
Yes, we had an unrecorded podcast session.
It was an unrecorded. We should have brought our recording equipment to the bar and just talk about random nonsense.
All the people would be like, "What is going on over there?"
It was too loud. There's no way. There's literally no way that we would ever.
That would have been insane.
Yeah. But it was good. It was fun seeing everybody, my family, you, Anthony, seeing some friends. Yes, but I'm happy that I'm back. I've been back for about a week now, and I'm still exhausted from my trip. You'd think that vacation would help you get more well rested, but any trip to Disney World is so exhausting. And we were
absolutely,
we
man.
were in Orlando
you're burning
for
them calories.
5 days. Yeah, it was crazy. But anyway, what have you been up to, man?
Well, I had put out a mini-sode a couple weekends back. I went to Florida Supercon. I don't know if you got to listen to the mini-sode at all, but
I have not yet.
But yeah, I had a little bit of a tragedy as far as that moment, or as far as that convention. Dude, I was so dead set. Like one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to go to the convention this year. I mean, aside from the fact that I go every year and that I was gonna go regardless, but dude, Critical Role was there. The entire squad was there.
Dang. Okay.
And they never really head down to this neck of the woods. I think Matt Mercer headed down this way, I think back in like 2016, 2017. But that was for the circuit of Overwatch, kind of when Overwatch was in its prime. So that was really...
What was the issue with Critical Role? What happened?
Okay, so the issue is that... So I didn't get to go on Friday evening. I just couldn't get the day off. But I was planning on going on Saturday. They had a panel for 11 a.m., which is a little crazy because the convention opens at 10. So having a panel at 11 a.m. is just really right there. But I wanted to head out to the convention as early as I could. But the night before, I noticed that there was a screw in my tire.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't want to drive up back and forth from where I live up to Miami because, it's about an hour of driving back and forth. So that's 2 hours of driving each way.
With the screw in your tire.
And it's with the screw in my tire. So I didn't want to chance it. Even though it was small, I wasn't losing any air. I wasn't going to chance it. So I went to the tire place as early as I could. And I was able to get out and head out around maybe 9:30ish, between 9:30 9:40, and I was supposed to get up to the convention center around 10:30. I know it's cutting it a little close. It's Saturday,
and it's Miami,
but still, the Waze told me I was supposed to get there at 10:30, and so I was like, okay, I get there, I should be able to. Believe it or not, it was not hard for me to get parking, but there was an accident that happened, so that caused traffic. And then I got over there, traffic got really bogged down, so I didn't end up getting to park until a bit after 11. And by then the panel had already started, and I got a notification on my app that the panel was full, dude.
That sucks.
I was so upset. That was
the one thing you were itching for.
I was itching to go to, dude. I had a Revenge of the Sith Darth Vader moment.
Oh man,
no. But I mean, the silver lining is that the full panel is actually online. Reed Pop has a channel called Popverse, and they have that full panel online. Which, I mean, that's the silver lining. It's not the same. It's like watching a concert on YouTube.
Yeah.
Sure, you get to see, oh yeah, it's really cool, but you're not there experiencing it.
It's not an experience. It's not the experience.
Right. So, but I'm still taking the silver lining. I'm like, okay, maybe and I kind of wanted to be there because one of the people of Critical Role kind of came back after being away for a while because he was dealing with some cancer stuff. So I was like, wow. Yeah. He had some he said that he couldn't taste. And so it was I don't know exactly, dude. There's so many different doctors that deal
cancer. I don't know.
Right, and part of the tongue, and so he had to get surgery done, and so his character was spoilers. Skip forward maybe a few minutes if you're not caught up on it, but his character dies, and we kind of find out that's a little bit of the reason why his character dies because he had to deal with that, but now he's back with a new character and.
Okay.
Wow. But I kind of wanted to be there. I know, talking a little bit of a tangent, but yeah, I wanted to be there, and if you guys are interested in hearing more about my experience in Supercon, I have the mini-sode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to check out dude, it was such a really big D&D convention. There was a lot of D&D stuff there. There was 4 of the voice actors from Baldur's Gate 3 there.
Oh, really?
There was Critical Role that was there. There was so Critical Role has like a side group called Exandria Unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
That group was there. And
you know why, right?
just what happened?
Do you know why there was such a big D&D presence?
Honestly, I'm not too sure.
It's because Wizards of the Coast is like gearing up for their release of the new core rule books because it's the 50th anniversary.
Okay, yeah,
so
that makes sense. Well,
they're just like ramping up, sending people everywhere.
I was, when I saw them on there, I knew for months that they were going to be there, but when I saw that Supercon had pulled it off, I was like, you crazy fools, you done pulled it off. But yeah, no,
did it now.
I was excited about that. And aside from Supercon, I have been doing some gaming. I've been playing Marvel Rivals, aka Marvel Watch, as some people call it. And yeah, dude, I've been getting to check that out, man. It's interesting. I didn't know how it was gonna play. I thought it was gonna play a little clunky, but it plays a little bit on the smoother side. Mind you, we're in a closed beta, so there is a lot of clunkiness to it. But I thought it was gonna feel closer to a game like Paladins rather than Overwatch. But it kind of sits in the middle of that. Like, there's a bit of like smoothness, and with some optimization, it'll run pretty smooth like Overwatch. But a lot of the gameplay feels a little bit like Paladins, especially when you first play it. It's a little confusing. You're like, okay, where am I going? Okay, what's happening right now?
Okay, is that something that needs to be ironed out, or that's part of the mechanics?
Yeah, I think it's part of the mechanics, but I feel like it can be ironed out. Maybe there's a way that they can make it a little bit more, I guess, a little bit easier to navigate the maps and stuff. It's really cool that they have like destructible environments.
Oh, okay.
And they've been adding characters and stuff. When they dropped the closed beta, they had added Venom and one other character that I forgot. And then they just recently dropped Thor and Jeff the Land Shark.
That's so random.
Dude, yeah, it's like a dog. He's like a shark that's a dog. But no, it's really interesting. I'm excited to see more. The beta ends, I don't know, I think maybe in like less than a week. So I'm pretty excited to check that out. I think that we'll probably see a closed beta by the end of this year, because I know it actually releases next year. So I mean, if they drop the open beta, man, you should hop on and check it out.
Yeah, let me know when that happens, because I'm
up on that.
I am intrigued. Before we jump into our discussion of Deadpool 2, there is something I want to talk about. Two things that I'm working on. One, it's a YouTube video about the Acolyte. So over the course of like the 7 weeks that the Acolyte premiered, there was a lot of criticisms that I felt were unwarranted. Criticisms that people said like, oh, this breaks lore, this breaks canon, and this is bad because X, Y, and Z. So I went through and I kind of like grabbed a whole bunch of those criticisms, and I made a narrative video essay sort of thing, like commenting on all these criticisms. So that's kind of going to be a fun video. I actually get kind of upset and like angry at some points in the video, because like some of the criticisms are just so baffling. Like, where are you even getting this information? Like, it's craziness. So that's going to be up on YouTube hopefully this week. And secondly, I started reading a new book. I'm always reading new books, but this one's really exciting because I'm a big fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender. There's in the past been like prequel novels for different avatars. It started with 2 Kyoshi novels, then there was 2 Yang Chen novels, and now they just released a new book for Avatar Roku. And I'm like not even like 60-70 pages in, but it's like I'm in love with it. It's so good the way that they're able to like make the history of this world seem relevant in the present, even though it's the past, if that makes any sense. Like, it's a period piece within the Avatar universe, but it feels totally like everything that's happening, even though like we know about it in the future, because of the Avatar series, it's happening in real time, and it's like so cool because you have like Avatar Roku and Sozin, who is going to eventually become the Fire Lord that starts the 100-Year War with Sozin's comet. Yeah, so I'm really excited to see like how. I mean, it's way early in Roku's like time as the Avatar, so he's like 16 years old at this point. So it's a long ways off, but it'll be cool to see how that friendship develops into some sort of animosity, and the Fire Nation starts breaking off. So I'm really excited about that book. It's called The Reckoning of Roku, and yeah, it just came out a couple days ago.
Sweet, man, that's pretty cool.
Maximum effort.
Yeah, maximum effort. Alrighty, so Dakota, are you ready to hop into the discussion of Deadpool 2?
You bet your bottom.
Alrighty, so this movie comes out. It was the same year as, was it 2018?
I think it was. My gut is telling me it is 2018. Let me just, we can quick Google search. Yes, 2018 it is.
Alrighty, so we get Deadpool 2 in 2018, and I love this because, Logan has happened, right? And Deadpool makes a mention of that. Like, this guy found a way to die pretty much, And
yeah.
we kind of understand why Deadpool wants to die in this one because, the love of his life gets killed by some people that are, he there's a whole 9 to 5 montage of people that he was killing, and some of those people came back.
So what I find kind of interesting about that, and what's cool about it, is they did something similar in the first Deadpool movie in terms of laying out like what was happening in the present, and then going back to how it all began, and then catching up to that, and the rest of the movie plays out. They've done that now for each Deadpool movie. I don't want to give any spoilers for Deadpool 3, but they started it off while he's fighting, and then they kind of, backtrack as to like what really happened from here to there.
So good.
And I think this one was probably the one that I liked. Well, I can't tell because I really liked the opening for Deadpool 3. But of the first two, I will say I think this one is the more fun introduction.
I agree. Well, I mean, because he's in full
I don't know if it's
swing
more
as
fun.
Deadpool. We had a portion of that first movie that was like part origin story, part, he's full swing Deadpool. That is true. And
yeah, like the actual introduction in the first movie of like Wade Wilson becoming Deadpool takes a little bit. There's a good 10-30 minutes or 20-30 minutes that like he's becoming that character. In this one, we start with him being Deadpool. So you're right about that. But I think that this movie is also fun because it plays on time travel and those concepts quite a bit. And what happens in the introduction with Vanessa, they play it out like it does normally, once they go into like the backtrack of like, how did I get here? They play it out as normal, and then later on they retread that moment and change key things in the fight or in the instance that save Vanessa, and that changes the future of Wade's whole world. So I really like just that concept.
Oh yeah, this was your first time like watching the actual Deadpool 2, right? Like you had watched the other version before.
Yeah, so I didn't remember too much of a difference, honestly, just because it's been a hot minute. It was like pre-COVID that I saw it, obviously. So I watched the PG-13 version, where it's kind of like Deadpool 2 as told through the guise of like it being almost like a Princess Bride type story being told, which was fun when I saw it years ago. But this is the first time I'm seeing the actual rated R version of it, and I don't recognize too many differences, besides that narrative structure. And it's
there was probably not like, I was gonna say it was probably not really like gory. There was probably not much cussing. Did they?
Yeah, I mean, I saw it like on an airline, so it was
Okay.
it was as clean as it could be. But yeah.
But yeah, I know that there's like some boxes that they can kind of push the envelope on with PG-13, but they obviously can't go full swing like this like the full Deadpool movie does. But this movie was interesting because around this time we're getting movies like we got Infinity War that year, right?
Infinity War in 2018.
Yeah. And
so Josh Brolin had a huge year.
He really did, yeah. I was going to say it was interesting because, we have him in the MCU playing Thanos, but then now he's over in Deadpool 2 playing Cable, which he does a smash up, like he kills it in both roles.
Yeah, definitely. Hold on, when did Infinity War come out?
Or maybe that was 2017 and we got Endgame in 2018?
No. It was 2018. I remember that.
It might have been in the summer.
It released April 27th, Infinity War, and 3 weeks later, May 18th, Deadpool 2 came out. So, within the span of a month, Josh Brolin played the villain in 2 huge movies.
He's like a semi-antagonist in this one.
He is the antagonist for like the first half of the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's definitely like a handoff at some point. Dude. Oh my gosh. Like that little kid, was it Russell?
Russell, yeah.
Dude. Dude, he was hilarious. He was so funny, man. Like
that kid is like really funny.
He was really funny.
Julian Dennison. I like whenever he's in a movie, they just let him keep his New Zealand accent, and it's so funny.
What else have you seen him in?
Well, he's in Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Is he really? I don't remember him, and I need to watch that again.
He's Maddie Russell's friend. Yeah, I'm looking at what else he's in. He got his big break in Taika Waititi's Hunt for the Wilder People.
Oh, okay.
What else is he in? How to Train Your Dragon. So he's actually not in a whole lot. So I really only know him for a couple roles. But
okay.
I like him as an actor. I think he's just like he has a lot of gravitas on screen, and his comedic timing is very good.
Really, yeah, it really is. Especially like the whole prison wallet thing. He had like some shank.
And he kept trying to like fight people to like, make them
Dude. Oh my gosh. What was the name of that one guy? It was like Black something.
Oh. Black Tom Cassidy.
Dude, I know that we're jumping around in this, but so at some point, okay, at some point Deadpool ends up in prison with this kid because Colossus, he brings him in. He's like, look, it's time for you to be an X-Men. This is after Vanessa dies. And I love that whole scene where he talks about like, why is there nobody ever like in this building? And he opens like a door but doesn't look in, and like the whole like you see like James McAvoy and like all of that like whole other side.
I love that. Yeah, I got such a kick out of that because it is true. Like in these movies, like they don't give you any of the major Marvel like X-Men characters, except for maybe Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
And then we get like another one. Negasonic
Yukio.
has a girlfriend named Yukio, and yeah. So like Colossus like been really wanting him to become an X-Men, or Deadpool to become an X-Men, and Deadpool kind of does he's like okay, whatever, I'll do it, I'll try it out. And so they go to a call of like a kind of like a mutant disturbance, it's Russell outside of like it's like an orphanage, right? And
Yeah.
you know, he's just kind of like, you know, going wild. He's flinging these fireballs around, and it goes, you know, and you kind of find out there's
the orphanage. Yeah, the orphanage kind of is like an anti Xavier School for Gifted Young.
right,
youngsters,
right. Like
know,
you realize that there's more going on, and Deadpool picks that up. He sees that there's something not right. Like this kid is getting mistreated, and then, you know, sure enough, he goes right back to Deadpool mode and kills some of the guys at the at that orphanage. And so yeah, this is where we get him. He gets shipped off.
Colossus just gets freaked out, like, no, word.
Yeah. And yeah, so we got Deadpool in prison, and I thought it was so interesting because they have like those the dampeners that go around the neck,
the power dampeners, yeah.
And that's such a like interesting like concept. I know that like it's been around for a while, but I think it's cool that concept is around, because there's got to be a way to power down some of these like crazy overpowered heroes. I mean, Deadpool can literally survive being decapitated, you know? And so this makes it a little bit, you know, I mean, if he got decapitated here, I feel like, you know, obviously the dampener would be like gone and like his body would kind of kick back, or I don't know how that would work. Like, would his powers need to be on when that happened, or if his head was separated and the dampener went away, his body would reactivate?
That's an excellent question. I don't have an answer for you, but like I would assume that if his head is cut off and the dampener is just removed from him, his body would just kick back in to normal gear.
That's what I think. But the cancer is like raging in him without his regeneration.
Right. So he's dying like a slow and painful death in prison because, you know, he's just not being able to rejuvenate the cancer that's spreading rapidly.
Bro, I like that. Yeah, that moment where Black Tom Cassidy comes up and Deadpool's like, "Oh, what's your power? Cultural appropriation." There's a couple of funny moments with him. Like later on, he gets like killed, and Deadpool says, like, he's like, "You're racist."
Oh yeah, doesn't
Cable kills him. Cable kills him.
So like it becomes a running joke like that. Cable's racist because he killed Black Tom.
Yeah, he's like, we were like brothers, dude. And he was like a bully in prison. Oh my god. We get a massive, like crazy, like Juggernaut in this one. Like the Juggernaut that you would imagine Juggernaut to be in this movie, you know, because he's always like really humongous and everything else, you know.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
And yeah, Russell joins forces with him because Deadpool kind of like, you know, brushes him off. You know, he doesn't really like care. You know, he's going through a lot, and especially he's feeling himself dying from that cancer. So he's like, you know, dude, I'm not gonna have your back. You know, I'm over here just trying to like survive.
Yeah, Deadpool's at an incredibly low spot in, you know, his life. He's just lost the love of his life in Vanessa, and he doesn't really have much going for him. So he kind of wants to die, you know, and like putting the power dampener on him was kind of like a weird blessing in disguise, because he was just trying to kill himself several times earlier. Like he tried to blow himself up,
dude.
Like
seriously, like a whole bunch of like gasoline in his apartment with the oven or the stove turned on. Like that was crazy. And so that's where he kind of like, there's like that mention in the beginning where he's just like screw Wolverine.
Yeah, Wolverine Wolverine found a way to die.
Yeah. And so this movie gives us like a version of the X-Force, man.
Yeah, so what I kind of like about this movie is that, like, before we get to the X-Force, we have Wade Wilson trying to, like, understand what the spirit of Vanessa, or at least what, you know, Vanessa in his mind is telling him he needs to do to like re-find himself, and he realizes that this kid is giving him a second chance at humanity, and if he can save this kid, he can save himself in a way.
Yeah.
And Cable's whole shtick in this movie is that in his future, this kid, I don't think he has an actual superhero name, but he goes around just terrorizing people, and he killed Cable's family.
Right. It's almost like Russell. It's like that storyline kind of reminds me of that movie Looper, where there's there's like a kid that in the present day is, he's just a kid, but like there's some people there's like some certain people in this world that have powers, but this kid in the future goes on to become like this like massive like villain, and now people are kind of trying to come from they're trying to come back from the future to take this kid out because of what he becomes. And so that's kind of like Russell is this kid that like stuff really bad things happen to him, same with this kid, and I guess in the future he just becomes this villain that kills Cable's family. It's like a dystopian future.
Yeah. So in an effort to save this kid, who has now partnered up with Juggernaut, like the most massive Juggernaut ever, which first of all, I love that like his idea is to like buddy up with like the biggest guy in prison.
Yeah.
So he brings him like his like lunch. And then he starts like trying to talk to him like they're best buds like in crime now, and it's just
dude, yeah,
it's
bro. He's like we're best friends.
Yeah.
What was it? Oh my gosh, yeah. Like you said, like his like comedy is it's so funny because it's like ridiculous, and like sometimes it's like innocent in some ways, like that moment that you talked about, like just him bringing lunch to this like massive guy that's like behind a large metal door, which it's honestly kind of crazy that he was able to like get over there.
Mm-hmm.
Like you would think that would have been like just a sectioned off area that like guards would have been in front of, but other than that, it was so funny. So like we get the X-Force. That situation is so funny, or like that scene is so funny. The setting up of the X-Force, we get we get some like pretty cool cameos. We get Terry Crews with this guy that like has like electrical distortion or something like that. Some guy that can what was it? Oh my god, what's his name? The one that could spit vomit or like acidic vomit.
He calls himself Zeitgeist.
Yeah. I love like
that was Bill Skarsgård.
Yes.
As Zeitgeist.
And Deadpool's like, is your power to put your finger on the pulse of society?
No, it's I have acid spit. That's so funny.
But Peter by far was like the best out of all of them, because like he shows up not looking like his photo at all, like, and like Deadpool's like, am I getting catfished? Like, what's happening right now? And the guy, and he's like, I don't have any powers. It just sounded like it was fun. And he's like, I have type 1 and 2 diabetes, and like, well, wow, you've got all the diabetes. And he's just like accepts the guy, and he has like this other guy that has no superpowers in the background that wants to join this team. That
Dopinder.
Yeah, and he's just like, he gets pissed at that. Dude, it's so funny. Like, it was such a funny moment. Domino, which like, her power is interesting because like, it's like, how does it work exactly? I haven't really I haven't taken the dive too much into Domino, but like, I mean, it's luck. I mean, she says that it's luck, but like, is it a field around her?
It is like an actual superpower. Like, there's no way that she could do everything in that movie just by chance, like her entire power is luck, and she can tell when, or like why she is at the places that she is, or like, I guess she joins X-Force for a reason, and she doesn't understand that reason until she's at the place where she needs to be, basically.
Right.
So it's almost like predestination as a superpower.
Okay. So it's almost like not so much of like a premonition, but more of like a feeling.
Yeah, I guess kind of like Luke Skywalker closing his eyes before he blows up the Death Star, kind of, like...
It's like a momentary thing, not like really like a future thing. She's, like I remember she's like, I don't know why I'm here, but we'll find out.
Yes, yeah, but I really liked pretty much every scene with that character as he's played.
Yeah,
just a really cool way to visualize being lucky in a rated R movie.
Right? Yeah, seriously. And I think that she plays that role very well. Yeah, it's funny that Deadpool accepts her into the group because he's like luck's not a superpower, but for her it is.
So that initial scene of them parachuting down, which it's they predicate it with there's a strong wind advisory. So like, what are they doing parachuting down anyway? That's like you would never do that with a high wind advisory. And then like they all just one by one die, either like being like caught up in like hitting billboards, falling on power lines. One guy falls into a wood chipper.
Yeah. Was that
was Zeitgeist?
That was Zeitgeist, and I think he kills Peter because Peter tries to save him.
Yeah, I don't know if he kills him, but like he at least rips off at least one of the arms. Oh no, I think he does kill him because he spits at Peter.
Yeah, he does.
Yes.
Something I like about the Deadpool movies is that they'll put in like some obvious like A-lister actors, but then they try to sneak them in. Like, remember there's the Vanisher, and it happened to be Brad Pitt.
Yes, so like there's only like a 2-second scene of Brad Pitt in this movie,
and it's of him dying on a power line. Dude, oh my gosh, it's so oh my god.
Probably my favorite like shot of this movie is like Peter air gliding down right before he gets his parachute going. It's the funniest shot of just like a guy in a business attire.
Dude, that's why I used that GIF on that tweet that I sent out, because I love that moment. So yeah, like we have all this stuff happening, and there is like this last showdown. Cable joins up with it's only at that time it's only Deadpool, Domino, and then we got Cable that joined up, and then the little sidekick Dopender,
Yeah.
And so we have a little bit of a show or there's a standoff between them and was it Russell and Juggernaut? Well, we do get... Well, Juggernaut's just like whooping down on them, but we have Colossus. Colossus shows up with Negasonic and Yukio after Deadpool. Deadpool's trying to like get him to help with because he wants to save this kid. Deadpool actually wants to save this kid. He doesn't want to kill him. Which is interesting because Deadpool's like, okay, if there's a threat, I'm gonna take him out. But he sees that he's not really a bad kid. And so, Deadpool's still sour about, what went over at the... Colossus is still sour about what went over at the orphanage. But he eventually, shows up, and they throw down on Juggernaut while Deadpool and the rest of them go for Russell.
And at this point, Cable is no longer the bad... He's no longer the villain. They've made good with whatever Cable is going on. Like, Cable explains his position, and Deadpool, knowing that this is kind of the only way to like save his soul, I guess, whether it's like literally his soul or like mentally, it's not really entirely clear, but
he kind of wants to make good because he's kind of done a lot of like killing throughout his life. So I think he just wants to save a life at this point, you know?
He wants to save a life and hopefully help someone because he can't really help himself at this point. You know, he's a killer.
Right. And, you know...
Well, and once you go down that path, it becomes easier.
Right. And I think that Deadpool can see that, like, you know, if he saves this kid, there is that potential that... there's also that potential that it could still save Cable's family, you know, that it could... That, you know...
That's true.
Russell down the line won't become this villain because somebody, you know, looked out for him and kind of brought him down or led him down the right path. Yeah, that like last standoff was pretty good. I love that one line that Russell says because it's so you know, obviously it's ridiculous for him to say it, but he's like, it feels so good to be gangster.
It feels so good to be gangster.
Yeah, and he has that accent when he says it, and he's just like, you know, this like, you know, like, you know, just like this young kind of tubby kid. That, I mean, he has a crazy power though. I will say, like, it's really destructive. He's really strong.
He's a very strong mutant. Yeah, I love the arc of this movie, and I think that the idea of Cable giving him 30 seconds to like change this kid's path. In actuality, it was probably more like 3 minutes. You know, like Cable really extended his.
He gave him a grace period.
He gave him a very lengthy grace period. I don't know. I just like that part of his character because Cable, his own parents are like he's Cyclops' son.
Right,
you know?
Right.
So, and he has his own like time travel history with, you know, just like his own family. So I like that Cyclops lineage is still heroic, you know, even though like Cable's been through so much at this point in his life, and he's clearly a killer himself. He's willing to give someone else a second chance, which I think is a cool thing.
No, yeah, I agree. Deadpool. So that, yeah, we, like you said, it plays a little bit around with time travel. So the first time around, you know, they're thinking, you know, things are happening. It doesn't look like Russell is coming down from this, you know, crazy kind of villain spree, and Cable is ready to, you know, he shoots at Russell, and Deadpool takes the dive, and he takes the shot, but like he has the power dampener on, like he puts it on to show Russell, like, you know, like, hey, look, I don't have this on, you know, I'm coming to you, like to really show like that he's trying to help. And, you know, it doesn't it's kind of helping, but it's still like very shaky. But Cable, yeah, he takes a shot and Deadpool dives in front of him, and yeah, I mean, it does fix the timeline. It saves Cable's family, and I love
because Deadpool sacrificed himself for this kid.
Right, and this kid was like,
realized,
you know, nobody sacrificed.
He was really trying to do something for him.
Right, and he's like, you know, nobody's, you know, in a way, it's like nobody has sacrificed themselves for me, so this guy was being legit. And I love the gauge, or the thing that the gauge that Cable has. It's like a burnt up teddy bear, and when timeline fixes, the teddy bear is unburnt.
It's such an interesting visual.
Yes, it is. It's really cool. But so we got
and they could have chosen anything.
Yeah.
You know, they could have chosen anything as that like visual of like, well, my timeline fixed itself. To choose a teddy bear it's cool. Yeah, no, the vision, like the I didn't even really consider it, but the visual and the concept is actually really, really neat.
Yeah, I like that. And so yeah, we have a dying Deadpool, and the Cable goes back in time. So yeah, Cable, you know, he likes Deadpool, and he sees what he did, and he goes back in time to that moment right before the fight. But he, you know, and then everything kind of plays over. But then when it comes to the point where Cable shoots at Deadpool, Cable tucks in something, or he had tucked in something in the beginning of that moment, that arcade token that
yes he had taken the arcade token like from Deadpool earlier in the film, and it had significance to like Vanessa and their
right. It was like it was a bullet that was melted down to look like an arcade token, and that was like their first date. But yeah, he tucks it in, and that's the point that he shoots. And yeah, Deadpool's like, oh well, I'm not dead. But then he realizes that, dude, you went back in time, and he's like, you saved me. And I love that whole back and forth, like, you did it for me.
You did it for me.
No, I didn't. Come, you did it for me. Say it again, I'm gonna shoot you. But yeah, it was a good movie, man. I really, Deadpool 2 knocks it out of the park, just like the first one. Honestly, better. It took something that was already great and made it even better.
And I like that he kind of ends up with a family, even though, like, at this point in the film, Vanessa's not alive yet. He has, like, created a family of friends. It's a found family of just, random people who don't really have anyone to, call a family. They've created a family for themselves. So I like that about this film. And eventually he does, use Cable's abilities to go back in time and change a whole bunch of stuff, and it's kind of like a little montage at the end that is overwhelming in emotion but also funny. Like there are like a lot of like funny moments.
Yes. It's like it's a very like kind of like meta world moment where he goes back and he kills his old version in X-Men Origins. And then he like kills Ryan Reynolds reading like for Green Lantern,
reading the script for Green Lantern. I love that.
And then he saves Vanessa, and so yeah, like it leaves it at that. What would you say like your absolute favorite moment in this movie was?
If I'm being honest, I don't think that this is an extremely memorable film. I think there are moments in it that are memorable. The scene that I found was just most memorable is when they're flying out of or they're dropping out of the plane. I think that is probably the most memorable scene. I don't know if it's the best scene, but that's what I come to whenever I think about this movie. What about you?
That's definitely a good one, and also I liked the setting up of the X-Force.
Yes. Yeah, the whole business with X-Force. I love every scene with Zazie Beetz Domino. I think that really great screen presence whenever she's on, just the camera work and
right. And she does like a whole lot like in that last like fight, kind of setting things up. And like she goes and like protects the kids, like because she realizes that, or like she sees that there's some crazy stuff happening in this orphanage. So
guys, thank you so much for listening to us here for our 89th episode as we cover Deadpool 2. I hope you enjoyed this discussion. If you'd like to check out any of our other X-Men related podcasts, we have 10 others because this is the 11th one that we've done now. And next week, we're going to be doing a movie that I have never seen before. The next two X-Men movies that we're covering, I have never seen before. So Dark Phoenix is one of them, and New Mutants is another. This will be my first time watching Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, Dakota, you are in for a treat.
Some people like it, Some people think that Dark Phoenix has the sauce, but I've also heard that Dark Phoenix is bad. So we'll see.
Well, I mean, look, we've gone over the series, and even the bad ones have some silver lining. Yeah. So that's the X-Men series, So
yeah, that is a good point. Anthony, any final thoughts on Deadpool 2?
If you all have not seen it in a while, definitely go watch it. I would suggest, like, if you haven't seen Deadpool and Wolverine yet, and you're kind of waiting for the initial rush, but you haven't seen the first two Deadpool movies, go watch them. They're great, and You know, I mean, come on. Like, you could have like a little Deadpool marathon leading up to Deadpool and Wolverine. How about you?
Guys, I'm never watching this movie again.
Is that definite? Is that absolute?
No, I'm kidding. I will probably watch this movie again. I enjoyed it. I think rewatching rewatching all of these movies has been really, really fun. But I don't think I was a huge fan of the Deadpool movies when they first came out. Not that I didn't like them; they're good fun, but it wasn't something that I was like going to revisit regularly.
Yeah.
So actually getting the chance to revisit it has been really cool and really fun. So I'm excited to keep going with this.
Nice.
Guys, if you would like to check out any of our socials, you'll find it in the show notes down below. And yeah, we're doing Dark Phoenix next.
Yeah, and
anything I should know, like leading up to this, like anything you would recommend, like warning me about, or
it's been a while, man. I haven't seen it since like I first saw it way back when. So, ooh, yeah, this is gonna be like a refresher for me. But yeah, other than the socials being in the show notes, if you enjoy the show, share us with your friends. Also, if your podcast application allows it, give us a juicy 5-star review or thumbs up, or even comments on it. Some of the podcast applications allow for comments, even if they're not reviews. You know, we still want to look at them, we still want to read them and check them out, and they really do help us out with the algorithm. But yes, Dark Phoenix is next. Give it a watch if you haven't watched it at all, or if it's been a while, if you want to kind of refresh yourself and kind of join the conversation with us on Twitter or even on Instagram. Give us a shout out.
Yeah, guys. All right, maximum effort. Talk to you later.
Alrighty, bye. My name is Anton Pool.